Buenas Day, the Committee on General Government Appropriations, Operations, Appropriations, and Housing is now called to order. Today is Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. The time now is 9:00 a.m. Welcome to everyone connected by Zoom and those tuning in via television or the YouTube channel. Thank you for your patience and for accommodating this Zoom platform while we maintain social distancing mandates. Notices for this public hearing were disseminated via email to all senators and all main media broadcasting outlets on Monday, December 13th, 2021, and again on Friday, December 17th, 2021. The following items will be heard for this morning's virtual public hearing. The confirmation hearing of Dr. John J. Rivera to serve as a member of the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority Board of Commissioners for 5 years from May 3rd, 2021 to May 2nd, 2026. This Zoom meeting is hosted by my staff and will mute all Zoom participants until called upon by the chair. Members of the committee and non-committee members will be allowed to pose questions to an individual testifying. Individuals testifying shall first be recognized by the chair before speaking and begin by stating their name for record-keeping purposes. When called upon, please ensure that you are unmuted. Questions and testimony shall be confined to the substance and nature of this agenda. Personal inference as to the character or the motive of any senator or any individual testifying is not permitted. Any violations of this general rule of conduct will result in the removal from the virtual public hearing room by our staff. Please ensure that your video remains on throughout the hearing. Participants must be visible at all times and not engaged in any other activity during the hearing. Failure to maintain visibility may cause your removal from the meeting live stream. I'd like to thank my colleagues for being here this morning. Senator Tony Atta, Senator Telotidegui, Senator Joanne Brown, Seduas Masi, okay, we will now begin with the confirmation hearing for Dr. John J. Rivera. I will invite those who have signed on to testify to begin now. If you are here to testify for Dr. John Rivera's confirmation hearing, please turn on your video now. We'll begin with Mr. Ray Tapasnia, the Executive Director of GORA. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Senators, Honorable Senators Atta, Senator Shelton, Senator Tello, Senator Joanne Brown, and members of this committee. For the record, my name is Ray Sanchez Tapasnia, and I currently serve as the Executive Director of GORA. I am here this morning, actually it's afternoon because I'm in Seattle, to testify in full support of Dr. John J. Rivera to serve on the GORA Board of Commissioners. I read Dr. Rivera's resume, and I have to say, there are no words that I could possibly add to further convince members of this committee that this appointee belongs on the GORA Board. Notwithstanding our mission of strengthening families and building communities one project at a time, GORA is at the cusp of rebranding and sharing some of our strategic plans designed at improving the quality of life for every citizen that calls Guam home. Dr. John Rivera will no doubt play an intricate role on how we proceed with our educational campaign. I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I will just end by saying that we intend to share with the community in early 2022. What we intend to share with the community will be a game changer for GORA and hopefully for Guam. I humbly request of this body to confirm him to the GORA Board of Commissioners at the earliest convenience. Thank you very much, Senators.
Seduas Masi, Director Tapasnia, thank you very much. I'd like to also state for the record that we have received testimony in support of Dr. John Rivera's confirmation from Monsignor James Beneventi. And at this time, I'd like to invite Dr. John Rivera to give his statement. Please state your name for the record.
Today, honorable senators. Thank you to the chair, Senator San Agustin. Thank you to Senator Shelton, who's hosting this right now. Senator Ada, Senator Nelson. I see Senator Brown and Senator CITE. Thank you so much. For the record, my name is John Rivera, and I am honored to be here this morning. First, I would like to express my gratitude for my nomination by Governor Liu, Lieutenant Governor Josh, and the support of Director Tapasnia, Deputy Director Liz, and the rest of the Gore family that I've met. I'm an executive coach, consultant, and collegiate professor. My forte is in human capital innovation through agile leadership transformation and organizational development, specializing in emotional intelligence, personality type, and strategic talent capacity building. I have a PhD in organization and management with a specialization in leadership. I hold 2 master's degrees, an MPA and a professional MBA, and an executive certificate in public policy from the Harvard Kennedy School, and numerous professional credentials, post-nominal designation. For the work that I've done, I've been acknowledged with the Pontifical Order of Knighthood by Pope Benedict XVI. I have served in several capacities in other non-governmental boards to include president, officer roles, founding member roles, founding board officer roles. I was recognized as who's who in the government of Guam 40 years and under, and 50 under 40 emerging leaders in the government of Guam, named the 2020 UOG Triton Faculty of the Year, among the inaugural speakers of TEDx Agatna, and recently completed emerging leaders programs by the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, where I was selected as one of 35 in the nation. Currently, I'm a tenured associate professor of public administration with the University of Guam School of Business and Public Administration. I currently sit as the MPA program director and the co-founder and director of the Regional Center for Public Policy. Despite all of this, I consider myself just an average tomorrow. Average because if this is what I can do, imagine what our people are worth and what more they are capable of. You know, you can tell a lot about an organization from the first moment that you walk through their doors. It says a lot about Gura when you walk in and are immediately greeted by the people like Nari with a warm smile and a sincere welcome. When you're introduced, told what a great people for. I can't tell you how many staff have come up that they have a great boss and director Tapasnia, and that they just love working at Gura. It says a lot, the amount of reverence and care that I've witnessed. Colleague Emiliano Rubino, who recently passed away at Gura, and my sincere prayers go out to him and his family. Senators, I fully understand the weight and the responsibility of this board. I know that the role will not be an easy one. However, I am here today to do my part, to do what I can to serve our people, work with Gura's executive management, fellow commissioners, partners, stakeholders, and support the hardworking staff at Gura to serve as commissioner should I be granted the privilege and honor to do so. Thank you for giving me the moment to testify. Zen Feliz Pascua.
Siduos Masi, Dr. Rivera, thank you very much for your testimony this morning. I'd like to open the panel now for questions from my colleagues. We'll begin with Senator Tony Ada.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, good morning, Dr. Rivera. And I've known Dr. Rivera for many, many years, and him reading off his resume is just such it's so impressive. But I think he said it best, that he's still the average tomorrow. And I think that Dr. Rivera will fit in anywhere you place him. And I hope Director Tapasnia, you got him for this time, but it is my hope that the administration, Governor Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, would actually find a place where you would be very instrumental in forging forward the and helping forge the lives of those that we serve. And it's just, I just don't have words, because I've known you for so many years, and you've always been that humble person that just works to do the best that you can to impact the most lives that you can, and ensuring that the end result is always something that we can all be proud of. I have absolutely no questions for you, Dr. Rivera. You have my full support and you have my vote. And Madam Chair, I hope that we'll be able to get Dr. Rivera onto the next session so that we can vote on his confirmation, get him on that board so he can start working. And I know he's already working, making decisions or even giving suggestions and recommendations on how to make things better. But I think that we really need to move forward with his confirmation. And thank you, Dr. Rivera, for answering Governor Leon Guerrero's call and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenoral's call to serve on the GURA board. And I love to work with you in the future and see how we can make things better for our people. Again, thank you, Dr. Rivera. Thank you, Madam.
Assiduous Masi, Senator Ada, Senator Taichigui.
1 second. Well, today, Dr. Rivera, thank you so much for stepping up to the plate. I mean, very impressive, of course, your resume, and I know it's not going to end as far as all the other educational stuff that you're going to go after. Having 2 master's degrees, I'm sure you're going to go after something else. But why, with your resume, why GURA? I mean, you can basically go anywhere. And with your expertise, why would you want to serve on GURA?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. GURA specifically at this moment, because that's where I'm called to serve. I really don't pick usually the places that I serve. In leadership, they say that many are called, right, and few are chosen. And I was asked to step up to the plate here at GURA. And so it is my honor and my privilege to be able to serve in any capacity that I'm asked whenever I'm able to.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be a great asset, Dr. Rivera. I do have a question. There's a bill that's out there right now regarding GURA and the board members. The average stipend for individuals serving on a board, whether it's paid for by federal funds or local funds, it's about $50 per meeting, not to exceed, I think, 100, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a recent bill that's out there raising that almost, 400% to $250. Are you familiar with that bill, or are you? Yeah.
I have heard about the bill, Senator.
So are you willing to serve in this capacity if it's only for $50 instead of $250?
I'm willing to serve in this capacity regardless of the payment, right? I think that the payment, for me personally, right, is not the motivating factor. This is what motivates me, and I'm happy to do so regardless. I do believe that that GURA is a different place and a different organization, and all organizations that serve are unique on Guam. And so
oh, I'm sorry, I think we got, okay. Are you done with your comment?
yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm kind of worried about that bill only because it's going to start setting a precedence, even if it is done federally, it's going to cause a lot of animosity. And I think from other people serving on boards, I think your willingness to serve at what it is right now, it's a good indicator that it's about serving the people of Guam. And you're absolutely right. So I wish you the very best, and Merry Christmas to you and the family as well. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Assiduous Masi, Senator Taichigui. Senator Brown.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and certainly appreciate the interest of Dr. Rivera in wanting to serve on the GURA board. He definitely, without question, brings very, very impressive credentials, and certainly could take his pick probably of any board or commission in the government of Guam. But I did want to ask him with regards to GURA, what direction would he like to contribute to either improve or, they're talking about rebanding GURA in terms of their public image. But in terms of him from a policy standpoint and sitting in the GORA board, does he have any particular issue or direction he would like to see shifted or improved during his tenure with the board?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. You know, to be fair, I honestly don't know exactly where I believe that GORA should be. I haven't gotten enough ground time with them in order to make that determination. But I do say that this in the conversations that I've had and from what I've heard, this I think in time not only for GORA but for Guam itself. And so if GORA can be a vehicle or an opportunity to better the lives of the people, or an opportunity to do things better or be an example, then for sure that's where we're going.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, Dr. Rivera. I mean, to have someone of your credentials, I don't think we say that lightly. I mean, we'd love to see more people, you know, especially of our own local people that have been as accomplished as you are, coming forth literally to do on top of the long list of things that you already do to keep you busy, and being a person of faith coming into this process. I think at a time when more of our people want to see better direction and leadership in government. You know, having the power is one thing, but using it responsibly. And as you mentioned, I mean, doing it to improve the lives of our people ultimately is what we would like to see all our public officials, regardless of what capacity that we serve, and certainly in your role, because I don't doubt you will be confirmed unanimously to this position. We just want to see that continued example, certainly by work that you do and what you contribute, what you pass on to your students, certainly creating a whole other up and coming generation that we very much want to see a sense of personal responsibility within their community, because that's what we need. It's not going to be a select few. We're going to need a bigger, broader community that has that sense of personal responsibility, that not only do we have the opportunity to benefit, but more importantly, we have a responsibility to give back to our community. And certainly God blesses us with certain talents. It's not for our own use, but it's to better the lives of all our people, because we have many challenges now, and certainly we'll have challenges ahead. So I certainly appreciate your interest. You know, the fact, like I said, you have so much on your plate already that you're willing to step forth and contribute in this capacity, but I don't doubt in the future to hear more of the remarkable work that you're doing. So congratulations ahead of time, because I'm sure you will be confirmed, and happy holidays. Again, thank you for your continued public service. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to ask Dr. Rivera a short question. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Brown. Thank you very much. And as Senator Ada mentioned, we will do our best to move this confirmation forward in the next session. I too would like to give my support to Dr. Rivera, knowing him from my time at the University of Guam as my professor. I know that he is certainly qualified, and I'm very happy, Dr. Rivera, that you're willing to do this job and take on more on your already very full plate. We're very thankful for your willingness to serve in this capacity, and we look forward to the contributions that you will be making. I think there's one more individual coming online to testify for you, so we'll give him a minute to sign on. Just take 1 minute. We have Mr. Sonny Perez, who is going to be testifying for Dr. John Rivera. Please turn on your camera, sir. Okay, maybe there are some technical difficulties. If he comes online, then we will allow him to testify. Okay. If not, if anyone else would like to submit testimony for the confirmation of Dr. John J. Rivera to the committee, we will be receiving testimony for the next few days for any additional information to this public hearing. And you may submit those testimonies to the mailroom at the Guam Legislature or through email at senatorjoesanagustin@gmail.com. I believe I just saw Mr. Perez sign on. So Mr. Perez, please turn on your camera and you may begin your testimony. Please state your name for the record before you begin. Sir, please turn on your audio.
I apologize. My up. Thank you so much. My name is.
Your name for the record before you begin.
Sure. My name is Sonny Perez. I am the architectural engineering manager here at GURA. And I've been.
Sir, please turn on your audio.
Oh, I thought it was. I'm so sorry.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
There.
I think you're following the delay. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I apologize. It says my internet says it's unstable. Thank you so much. My name is.
For the record before you begin.
Sure. My name is Sonny Perez.
Sir, I think you might have your YouTube or your live stream playing in the background. If you can shut that off, and then.
Yes, I will. I apologize. Oh, I thought it was. I'm so sorry. There you go.
Okay, please begin if you'd like.
My apologies, Senator.
No problem.
Yes, I would like to testify for support for Dr. John. Known Dr. John for quite a long time, since my PMBA years. And of course, I'd like to tell a funny story, if I indulge you for a few minutes, how back in 2011, I was taking the PMBA with Dr. Colfax. I was one of the PMBA students there. And at the time, I guess that was almost 10 years ago, and Dr. John looks young, while he looked younger back then. And so there was this little shrimpy, squirty, student-looking person coming in with a ponytail. And I said, okay, he's supposed to teach me something new? And lo and behold, it was Dr. John. And I said, okay, I'll be patient. I'll be patient with what he may be able to teach me, but I kind of know it all. Well, lo and behold, I was very pleasantly surprised that I did learn a lot. And through my years at the University of Guam, I was also the Chief Plant Facilities Officer there at the University of Guam for 16 years, starting the School of Business, being the construction manager there, and of course, taking care of the university facilities for the while until I became the A&E manager here. I can attribute many of my struggles here. I'll use that. Dr. John helped me at least, look at things in a different perspective. And he was very patient with me, although at times he likes to poke things and challenge me and to change my thinking. And that helped. It really did. And so you could say he's one of my younger mentors, as much as I'm much older than him. He is a younger mentor of mine, and I'm very thankful and very happy that he accepted this appointment to be part of the GURA board, because part of his talent is leadership. He knows he's very well versed in being able to lead people and lead people in a very good way. So I'd like to give my support of him. And I'm also a professional engineer. So if you want to talk credentials. So there you go. I'll leave it to that. I can keep talking. I know I can keep talking. The Director Topazna knows how I can keep going, but I'll just leave it at that now. So thank you very much for affording me the chance to give my support for Dr. John.
Siduous Masi, Mr. Perez, thank you very much. With that, we are concluding the testimony today for the confirmation hearing of Dr. John Rivera. If anyone has additional testimony they would like to provide, the committee will receive it here at the Guam Legislature at the mailroom or through email at senatorjosephagustin@gmail.com. Seduas Masi. This public hearing for Dr. John Rivera is now adjourned. The time now is 9:25 a.m. And I'll turn it back over to Senator Joe San Agustin, who has joined us. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
We will take a 5-minute recess before we move on to the next item on the agenda. We stand in recess. Thank you.
morning and half a day. The Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation and Housing is now called to order. Today is Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. The time now is 9:31. Welcome to everyone connected by Zoom and those tuning in via television or the YouTube channel. Thank you for your patience and for accommodating this Zoom platform while we social distancing mandates. Public notice for this public hearing will disseminate via email to all senators and all media broadcasting outlets on Monday, December 13th, and then again on Friday, December 17th. The agenda today, I'd like to thank Senator Amanda for chairing the nomination earlier. Thank you very much, Senator Amanda. The agenda this morning, colleagues, and to the people of Guam, is Bill 227-36 COR, introduced by Senator Amanda Shelton, co-sponsored by Senator Majority Leader Senator Telena Nelson, myself, Joe S. and Agustin, Pedo, Terlaje, James Moylan, Tony Ada, Tina Rose, Muña Barnes. An act to add Article 1 to Division 3 of Chapter 67, Title 10, Guam Code Annotated, relative to establishing the Veterans Bill of Rights Act in helping veterans access housing, employment, and higher education and healthcare through various local and federal programs to appropriate $500,000 from the 2021 Earned Income Tax Credit reimbursement to the Guam Veterans Affairs Office to implement the same and to cite this act as the securing and ensuring the rights veterans earned act. My colleagues, just to advise you that there will be an amendment to reflect that the additional language to read that and or from the 2021 General Fund unappropriated revenue. So other than the EIS, the Earned Income Tax Credit, will also add the if there's any available unappropriated funds that they'll be able to use. The general rules of conduct for this Zoom meeting. The Zoom meeting is hosted by my staff and will mute all Zoom participants until called upon. Members of the committee and non-committee members will be allowed to pose a question to an individual testifying. Individuals testifying shall first be recognized by me before speaking and begin by stating their name for record-keeping purposes. When called to speak, please ensure that you are unmuted. Questions and testimony will be confined, to the substance or nature of the agenda. Personal inference as to the character or the motive of any senator or any individual testifying is not permitted. Any violation of this general rule of conduct will result in removal from the virtual public hearing. Please ensure that your video remains on throughout the hearing. Participants must be visible at all times, not engage in any other activity during the hearing. But if you're having a drink, having coffee, please feel free to do that. If you're having a snack, I won't have any reservations on that. Failure to maintain visibility may cause your removal from the meeting live stream. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues that have joined us today. We have Senator Amanda Shelton. We have a new master's degree recipient there, Senator Telena Nelson. We have Senator Joanne Brown, and we have Senator Tony Ada. Let me see, who else do we have here? I guess that covers it. Then we have several folks that will be testifying in reference to the bill. And before we begin that, I'd like to ask Senator Amanda Shelton to please give her opening statement on the bill. Senator Amanda.
Sadusmasi, Mr. Chair, thank you very much for hearing this bill today. The SERVE Act, or Bill number 227-36 COR, is the product of the collaboration between the 2021 Fanuchanan cohort of the University of Guam Master of Public Administration degree program and the 36 Guam legislature to inform public policy relative to veteran services and care. The 6 co-sponsors of the bill include all veterans of the Guam legislature. And I want to thank Senators Telena Cruz Nelson, yourself, Senator San Agustin, Senator Jose Pedo Terlaje, Senator James C. Moylan, Senator Anthony Ada, and Vice Speaker Tina Rose Muña Barnes for joining me as co-sponsors of this bill and for their service to our island and nation. The MPA cohort is made up of veterans, and many of them come from legacies of military service, bringing this bill close to home. Our shared vision for the SERVE Act is to provide our veterans with the expanded support in employment, housing, healthcare, and education that they have rightfully earned. The bill will revitalize the Guam Veterans Affairs Office by providing the resources they need to improve and expand services for our veterans. I am proud to partner with the Fanachinin 2021 MPA cohort in getting this done, and I want to thank them for leading the charge in support of our veterans. And I want to congratulate all of them, Mr. Chair. They graduated just yesterday, so they're still working on this big project even after their graduation. So what this does, the SERVE Act enables the Guam Veterans Affairs Office to execute the Veterans Bill of Rights and ensure that Guam veterans receive increased access to housing assistance by targeting of housing programs eligible to veterans and streamlining federal and local processes to expedite veteran applications. Employment support by gathering data and reports on workforce need projections, highlighting in-demand industries, and leveraging veteran skills and experience through partnerships and federal and local agencies. Higher education opportunities by allowing veterans to be awarded college credit for military training and experience, offering early registration to veterans, and accommodating veteran students called to active duty service. And healthcare by developing and operating veteran health navigator services to evaluate the eligibility of veterans for federal and local health service coverage and treatment based on their service, and preventing veteran suicide by ensuring veterans have access to mental health services to include holistic treatment for post-traumatic stress disorders, depression, suicide, and suicide ideation. Additionally, the bill will appropriate $500,000 from revenues received from earned income tax reimbursements to the GVAO for the operations and implementation of programs and services for fiscal year 2022. And after discussions with you, Mr. Chair, find it prudent that, as you mentioned, we proffer an amendment in committee to include the following language: and or from the unappropriated 2021 general fund revenues. This amendment ensures a funding source for this bill in the case that the monies from earned income tax reimbursements are not available or received. I want to thank you again, Mr. Chair, for your time today and for your co-sponsorship of this bill. I look forward to the discussions today from our community to help and strengthen this Veterans Bill of Rights. Suduas Maasi.
Thank you, Senator Shelton. I just need a thumbs up from everybody. Can you guys all hear me quite clearly? Because I know you couldn't. Okay, we told the landlord to tell everybody else in the building to stop their noise. But anyway, moving along, we'll begin with Ms. Lucia Perez from the Guam Veterans Office. Ma'am, you're it.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The director will be submitting, Director Tim Muggan will be submitting his written testimony. But for verbally, the Office of Veterans Affairs does support this bill. And it's, as it's written now, with its updates as required or as mentioned. We did submit, we have worked with the Bureau of Budget and Management Resources, which has also provided the physical note on the bill, and went through the bill, ensuring that we covered all items from staffing all the way down to something as simple as making sure that individuals have the proper technology to be able to assist our veterans and also be accredited. So for example, just so that we're all clear, the individuals that will be holding these positions will have to be individuals that are accredited and are very aware of all the different programs within the Office of Veterans Affairs and even the federal side of the house, so that when they sit down with our veterans, they understand what it means when it comes to housing assistance, which agencies that we're going to be working with, such as GORA and Guam Housing Corporation, and even the Department of Administration, like we are now, to ensure that veterans that are outside of earshot will have available means for rental assistance, for example. And then also with the employment services, we are looking Everyone knows that in order to succeed in anything, whether it's grants or even coming before the legislature to justify its budget concerns, we need data. And so there are positions in this bill or what we've written into and worked with BBMR to ensure that there are individuals who will be tasked, whose sole task is to go out there and gather the data. There's also the program of the outreach. We have put an internal program right now. It's just making sure that we get the proper staffing to go out and represent the office within the different organizations, veteran organizations that are out there. Currently, we do it through the Veteran Commission meetings where we have the different presidents or representatives from the organizations that attend these meetings monthly, so they'll have an idea of what it is that is available out there. We will also be working with areas such as Department of Labor so that we can ensure that when veterans go there seeking jobs or even having any questions, that they're referred to the proper individuals. What I've seen and what the director has seen within the past year that we have both come on board, July 2nd, was that our frustration from our veterans are from the inability to get the information that they need and to go to the right individuals. So it is our hope that with this bill, we'll actually have a team, will know and be able to call up agencies such as the University of Guam, such as GCC, such as Guam Housing and Urban, so that we can get information for the veterans so they don't get the quote unquote, lack of a better phrase, run around, right? Because that's the frustration part for our people, is not getting the correct information and then being told, oh, you need to go here, only to be told, oh no, they told you to go to the wrong place, go here. So like the saying goes, time is money and money is time. We would hope that this will cut to the chase and make sure that all time that is utilized is used to its maximum capacity and efficiency. I will remain on for questions. Should you have any questions about how the budget is set up?
All right, thank you, Ms. Paris. We'll now move on to Mr. Bill Cundiff now. Go ahead and unmute, Bill.
Está, can you hear me now? Now, Senator, how are you? Anyway, Merry Christmas to all of you on the panel and all the senators. And I wish you all a healthy and prosperous new year. And I hope that we can navigate through all of this COVID and have a decent life later on. Anyway, I normally support almost all veterans bill. I do not support this one at all. This is the first time that I'm not supporting a bill. This bill is too convoluted. It's duplicative. And it takes away what other organizations are doing. This bill sounds like the sky is falling down, that we are big as New York and unable to navigate the thousands of programs this bill mentions. Far from the truth. They're very duplicative. When I was director of AHRD, I ran all these programs and my employment rate was 85% for veterans. These programs are quite duplicative in nature, and we've taken away the responsibilities of all those agencies who are doing these programs. It provides no oversight to AHRD, to GVAO. No oversight, no fairness. This bill did not provide any additional resources to GVAO. We're doing a back thing here. And once we do this back shot, it is very difficult. GVAO does not have the training and doesn't have the expertise to do this. What you have done in the beginning here of this program is that you have identified the problem. You have identified the problem. And now you're taking the problem and you're giving it to GVAO to implement, research the problem, and do the work. It's a waste of time and a lot of waste of resources. When I was the TAP manager for Anderson Air Force Base, Transition Assistance Manager, we had this program as far as briefing all the veterans before they leave the Air Force for at least 20 years. So they all know what programs are available to them. They all know. It's not like we're in New York, or we don't know what AHRD is, we don't know Department of Labor is, we don't know where GURA is, University of Guam or GCC. It's not like that. Our vets can navigate these agencies, and they have the responsibilities. If they're hungry, if they want to get educated, they're going to do it. We just can't hold their hands because the sky's falling down. No, we can't do that. So I have some recommendations. Then I'll go through the bill and I'll tell you what are the things I feel was wrong. Number one, set up a partnership with all these agencies to design a comprehensive briefing. It's not hard. GCC, UOG, AHRD, Department of Labor, GURA. There's only a few agencies that we have. So set up a partnership and design a comprehensive briefing and use this money to do that. Design informational booklets for our vets. Do a wide and far-reaching outreach. Set up a web page, set up a website, set up TV channel, whatever it takes. Leave programs with agencies with primary responsibilities. Take the $500,000 and give to GVAO to fix the cemetery, especially the chapel and the bathroom, so our veterans can use the chapel and the bathroom when they go there. Use the money for transportation, transporting our veterans to their appointments. This is such a broken thing for the longest time that we cannot fix. So simple to fix, but we cannot fix it. I understand that we have a van down there at GVAO and it's not starting. So we need to move away from this thing here. And so here's what I found. On your findings, you're saying that Veterans Bill authorized in helping veterans access. You mean veterans cannot access this bill? I mean, these programs? I don't think so. I think we're gonna make them aware, not access. Once they're aware, they can access, but not that they cannot access. And then on the part where it be enacted by the people of Guam, line 5, it says, however, these services are not widely known throughout the Guam community. Furthermore, the landscape of veteran services is ambiguous and exhaustive for stakeholders to navigate. Come on. This is far from the truth. We don't have too many places where they can go. And then on line 7, Legislator Turan further finds that veterans' rights and benefits must be acted on in a timely manner by the government agencies who facilitate and administer these programs. What you're saying is they need to do their job. Why are we transferring this program to GVAO? This paragraph just tells us that you want them to do their job. And line 23 on Article 1, short title 6701, it says, This act shall be cited as is securing and ensuring the rights Veterans Earned Serve Act. What is this? You already said that it is a Veterans Bill of Rights. Now you're saying securing and ensuring the rights of Veterans Earned Serve Act. What is that? And on line 4 on 6702 said the office may apply for and receive, administer grants, sub-grants, or enter into intergovernmental and intergovernmental agreements to provide services to veterans as defined pursuant to local federal laws and so on. You're telling these organizations to provide grants on things that they're doing. That don't make any sense at all. Doesn't make sense at all. And so we have a lot of, for an example, you're talking about housing and all of these programs. WestCare is given an yearly grant by the VA to provide all these programs, homeless programs, food programs, housing programs, educational programs, job search programs, all of these programs. The WestCare is given millions of dollars every year to do these programs. So we are very duplicative in trying to do this. One Guam agency that does all of these things, and I ran that agency, is the One Stop Career Center. The One Stop Career Center, their priority in the One Stop Career Center is for veterans and their families to get job training, education, and so on. There is a slot, there's a person at DOL that works on these programs right now, that perhaps they're not doing their job. I don't know why. So it's not that they cannot access the program. No, you're correct. In the beginning of this bill, you're correct that we don't know what these programs are. People are not working together to get these programs out to the troops. And no, we should not take it for granted that the veterans cannot access this program. Now, this is, I'm not sure what the intent of this program is. I don't know what the Bill of Rights are, and I don't know why we're saying that they cannot access this program. I think that we should go back to the drawing board and get everybody together, find a way to market these programs, and leave it where they are, and do a significant outreach and market for all these programs, because they're there. As a top manager at Anson Air Force Base, there's not a single person getting out of the Air Force or getting out of the military here in Guam that we do not brief. It's mandated by Congress. And if we don't brief one person and it's not in their records, we get a hit. So they all know. We brief them on veterans' rights, we brief them on veterans' bills, we brief them on education, everything about veterans. So I do not support this bill. I think we should go back to the drawing board and get everybody together and get all the programs in place as far as marketing, educating our troops, and then perhaps it'll be much more successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Cornell, Bill. Good points. We'll now move to Mr. Dwayne Paris, Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major. Paris, you on? You're it.
Alfred, Senators, my name is Dwayne Paris, and I'll be testifying on behalf of the bill. So Bill 227 sends a very strong message to our island veterans, right? Thanking them for their service. And that's how I interpret this bill, right? And it thanks them by providing assistance with housing, employment support, higher education, and access to healthcare. Now I understand the gentleman before me with veterans or active duty personnel exiting service, but we do have reservists who are veterans who don't get that opportunity with an out brief, and this bill helps facilitate our veterans who don't have that information, that these services will be provided. And additionally, on the other side of this bill, it does encourage and inspire Guam sons and daughters to serve in armed forces. And when they come home, they got this bill waiting for them, right? They have this Bill of Rights, secure and ensuring the rights of veterans earn. And I believe that this bill is a step in the right direction for our veterans. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dwayne. We have now Mr. Winter. Mr. Winter, sir, you're on.
Good morning, senators and everyone logged in. My name is Win Winter, and I'm a veteran. And I used the Guam Veterans Office as my veteran service organization when I applied for VA benefits. I support Bill 227 because I think it gives the veterans access to the benefits that they deserve. I know some veterans that do not have benefits for some reason. Maybe they don't know how to apply, and I think this bill will guarantee them access to it. When I got out of the military, active duty in 2011, I was looking for a veteran service organization here in Guam. And when I Googled it, the only veteran service organization here in Guam that I saw online was the Guam Veteran Service Organization. So I went there and they helped me apply for benefits. So I think this bill will give help to the veteran service, veteran Guam office to go out and look for information that they can provide to the veterans when they come in and apply for benefits. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winter. I think that we only had Mr. Pablo, but he hasn't come back on. So that being said, we're going to move to questions. I also recognize that we're joined also by Speaker Terlaje and Senator Telena. We'll now begin questions starting with Senator Amanda and then Senator Nelson, then we'll just move down the line. Senator Amanda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll reserve any questions for my closing.
All right, thank you. Senator Nelson, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Cundiff, do you know about the Housing and Urban Development Veteran Assistance Supplemental Housing Program? You're on mute, sir.
Apologize. Before Senator Respicio exit his office, we sat together and we wrote up a bill that gives priority to the veterans at Guam Housing. And also there is a worldwide program to help veterans find housing. And part of that program right now has been implemented by West Care. That is the top priority for the U.S. Veterans Secretary as far as housing is concerned.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair, just for the record, we've reached out to GORA and asked them how many, it's noticed as HUD-VASH, how many HUD-VASH recipients there are. And they stated that they had about 50. However, there's only 24 HUD-VASH recipients because they're not getting anybody really applying for it. Now, we worked with the Veteran Affairs Office and inquired to them also. And the cumbersome issue of this and why it's so rigorous is that this is like Section 8 for veterans, so they can avail to this. The process is that you go to the Veteran Affairs Office and they go through a screening process before they send you to GORA. And then GORA also has another federal listing requirements to apply to this program. The challenge is this HUD-VASH sits on the desk in the GORA housing development area for some time. It doesn't get acted upon and prioritizes the veterans. And that's the challenge here. This is the gap between that program. Mr. Cundiff, are you also aware of monthly stipends given to veterans for housing?
Monthly stipend given to veterans automatically for stipend?
For housing, yes.
Automatically?
Yes.
No.
Okay,
I don't think,
thank you,
think
Mr.
there's such a
Kunda.
thing. I don't
So
think there's such a thing.
There
You
are
get
stipends.
automatically stipend. Now here's what's going on. If you, and we have not implemented this program here. The
right, you have not
we
implemented
call it the
program.
UCX program, the unemployment program for veterans.
Okay.
We have not implemented that program in that unemployment program for veterans. They can get almost everything as they apply for jobs.
Okay.
But we have not implemented that program in Guam.
Okay, thank you. Also, Mr. Chair, Mr. Kundif, are you aware of perhaps a soldier or an airman or any of the troops of any of the branches going to their basic training, their AIT, fulfilling their time in service for 4 years and coming back to Guam and receiving college credit for it?
Yes, I am.
Okay, at the university?
For an example, the Guam Community College, excuse me, the Community College of the Air Force has an automatic thing, and then what they can do when they come back and apply for University of Guam, they can take those credits and transfer to University of Guam. Quite aware of that.
Okay, but that's just for the Air Force. That's not all military branches.
No. Everybody can take their courses and go and get it transferred. If they're applying for a college and they have these courses and they're asked what they have done in the past, the University of Guam or GCC can convert that to their credits.
Okay, Mr. Chair, currently there is no program within the University of Guam that allows those that are returning to transfer their credits within the university themselves. And there's just, I appreciate the dialogue, but there's just a lot of gaps that are within this within the system that our veterans are concerned about, also for mental health and well-being. So we always hear in the public hearings or just within the community itself, the challenge of the CBOC. And we've lost soldiers to suicide because it was very difficult for them to get service. I don't know why, but after combat, we've lost soldiers to suicide. And one of them is a family member of mine. And it was very challenging for him to navigate through the mental health system. And so here we're charging the Veteran Affairs Office to make sure that they have these caregivers, these support officers to understand the mental health system and to ensure and work closely with them on getting mental health treatment. And that is one of the challenges that we face here today. I support this bill. I thank you for hearing this bill, and I thank Senator Shelton for finding a funding source, because it is very difficult to move forward with any of these programs without a funding source. And I respect Mr. Kundif's position, but I feel that this will fill some of the gaps that within our veterans community that we are facing. And if we don't start now, if we don't create some type of foundation to let the veterans know that by statute we support them, these are their rights that they have earned, then we will continue this effect of not being able to support our veterans and continue to listen to them on deaf ears. So this bill is saying we hear you, we want to do something in statute to support you, and we want to move forward in any way we can to ensure that that happens. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Nelson. Senator Brown, do you have any questions for any of the individuals that have spoken? Ma'am?
Thank you very much. And certainly, I do want to find out, because it sounds like we're creating additional positions. And I am supportive of the veterans, as many of our people are. I mean, we have such a large population on Guam of veterans. I mean, I'm a family member of a combat veteran, so I certainly appreciate the desire to provide more services. But I also want to know, are we actually directly creating more positions versus what's currently happening? And I did want to get more information. I mean, we've heard a lot about West Care and what they're providing. Are we duplicating that with regards to government service? I know it's very desirable to say that we're doing all these things, but are we really, and what exactly are we adding on? Are we creating more positions so this is not a one-time appropriation? And the other question that I have, which I'll come back to, I don't care for the direction we're going with regards to funding source. I mean, the money's either there or it's not there. I mean, we're appropriating, but there's a backup. I'd want to have a very definite funding source, that it's a legitimate funding source. So we're not saying, oh, we're providing this, but we're not quite sure about how and where the funding's coming from. Because if this is a continuing appropriation that's expected every year, I think we need to know that as well and be upfront with regards to that. So, Mr. Cundiff, I appreciate your testimony. I don't want to be dismissive of what you're saying, certainly with your background and certainly with your position, also being a veteran and a very active, member in the community, speaking out on veterans issues. So if you could elaborate further, what is it you think that, WestCare, for example, can provide or is providing versus the Guam Veterans Office? What are your thoughts on that? Are we replicating it to, trip over ourselves, or what are your thoughts?
Well, what we're doing is you guys identified the problem in the beginning of this bill, okay? And what we're doing is because we're not supposedly, they don't know what the programs are, so we're taking that they don't know and then give it to the VA office and let them know it. The programs are there. Why don't we take these programs, get all these people together, and find a way to outreach, to ensure that our vets know what the programs are. When I was chairman of the commission, Guam Veterans Commission, I always have WestCare come in and brief us of the status of their programs. I have to sign a couple of times the support to give them the grant. They have housing, they can find housing for our veterans. They can find education opportunity for our veterans. They can find employment for our veterans. They can find all these things. That's their job. They even have a food locker for our veterans who are hungry. So they have this program. Other people have the program. If you look deeply into the One-Stop Career Center, this is their charter, to make sure that our vets and their families understand what the programs are for them, the educational and so on, even housing. So I'm not sure why are we duplicating these things. I'm not against this program. I'm against the duplication of efforts. And I'm not sure if the VA can handle, the VA can handle the amount of people that will be going over there and asking questions and just referring them. That's all going to be doing is they ask the question and refer them. That's all basically what's going to happen. So I'm not against it. It's just we've got to get our stuff together as far as getting the word out to our veterans. I'm a veteran advocate. I don't do anything for our veterans, but I'm not into duplicating of efforts and all of that stuff. So I support them getting the housing, but we're duplicating the programs of these offices. That one office at the Department of Labor that handles the Veterans Affairs, Veterans Services, is not being used. I never heard of them. I did a lot of research on them, but I've never seen anything out in the streets for them. So this is where it's lacking. And you guys have identified the program in the beginning of this, the problem in the beginning of this bill, that we're convoluted, we're duplicative, and so on.
So do you think, Mr. Cundiff, just a question that getting the information out there, do you think there's a problem with that veterans that are eligible are not really hearing about these programs? I mean, people have different ways of dealing. You have those that are very engaged, they be involved in veterans organizations after they've retired or stepped down from service. You have others that simply want to go off on their own. They just reliving some of their experiences in the military, because especially those in combat, it's not something a lot want to do. They just want to go about their lives and maybe don't have an interest in being engaged. So
you're right.
Yeah, out in our community so that veterans that might not directly want to always be involved, but will have access. Is that what you're saying is lacking? Or do you think there's a lack of that?
Well, number one, if you're hungry, you're going to go eat. If you want to get educated, you're going to get educated. If you like housing, you're going to find housing. you're going to go find housing. You're going to find ways to get it. So the problem, in my opinion, is that the word is not getting down to where the rubber meets the road. That we're not taking these programs and spreading it out and telling the community what's going on. We need to work together, come together, and speak from one voice only. Put these programs together under whatever title you want to call it, and have a briefing. Put a web page on it. Set up whatever outreach and all this so that our troops can understand what they are. It's not that we don't want, it's that I don't support this. No, it's not that. It's just that it's all over the place, and it's not together, and they don't know what it is, perhaps.
Do you think that hiring more personnel in the Guam Veterans Office is going to resolve that? Because that's my next question, not to ask you, but to the sponsors or to Guam Veterans Office. It sounds like they're looking at hiring.
I don't think it's going to resolve the problem. I mean, you right now they don't know what they are. So we're taking something that they don't know, give it to them, and then let them know what they are, and then market them or send them to the right direction. So all we're doing is referring. That's all they're doing, is referring to the people back to their responsible agency. And so Senator Nelson said that it's too cumbersome to navigate the housing area. Well, and they don't have priority. Well, pass a bill and make it a priority.
Well, there are a lot of priorities. I mean, there are families out there also that have children that are home. So very hard to weigh. I mean,
that's right. You're correct.
Needs, regardless of whether you're a veteran or not. And I know there are many veterans who would not want a homeless family with children to be left behind either. So, I mean, I think we end up over ourselves while trying to be the safe thing and not really look at the issue clearly. So, but I did want to ask, if I appreciate your input, Mr. Cundit, but I also wanted to ask the sponsors or Guam Veterans Affairs, what exactly are we talking about? Because it sounds very much like we're talking about adding additional personnel on at the Guam Veterans Office to execute these additional responsibilities.
We'll ask Ms. Ferris. And folks, let me remind you, if we mute you, don't unmute until we call you or you're called upon. Ms. Ferris, if you can, please, maybe you can respond to that question by Senator Brown.
Thank you, Senator. I was waiting for you to give me permission to unmute. So yes, Senator Brown, to your question, it will require additional people, additional personnel. As we have stated in our past, and you were present at our budget hearing, we are very short-staffed. So we did submit to BBMR, which was hopefully attached and given to the team here, the number of positions that we're looking at. And it will require, say, 2 additional veteran service representatives. And why it can't just be a regular clerk, it's because to understand it, and maybe there's a disconnect in our understanding of what this bill is. So with all due respect, Mr. Cundit, our office was understanding that it's not just a referral system. It's actually it's outreach. It's when people walk in, individuals walk in, whether it be the veteran themselves or somebody who's concerned about a veteran or a family member, and sitting down with the VSRs, the veteran service rep, and identifying their problem. It's the VSR or this program coordinator, whoever's handling this program within the Veterans Affairs Office, to find out, did they submit, did they fill out all the applications? Where is it at? To make sure that everything was done accordingly, because before the Veterans Affairs Office goes out, either making a referral, contacting the agencies, we also want to make sure that we're bringing all the proper documentation and making sure that that individual applying is qualified. And if they don't qualify, then figure out what needs to happen so that they can get assistance. So to your question of additional personnel, yes, ma'am, we would need them. And we did submit again to BBMR via the physical note, everything that is needed that we could think of.
And I want to ask one other question of you. What coordination, if any, do you do with WestCare to provide outreach to veterans? Because I also, again, I mean, you know, I have no problem supporting veterans, certainly from where I come from. I mean, most of my life has been orientated that way, even though I myself have not served. But I do want to know what services are being provided. I'm not for continuing to grow the government of Guam, which I see continuously happening these days at a time when a year from now, 6 months from now, I don't know what our revenue source is going to be, because I know supporting our own government right now, where it's at on our existing economy, we're going to be in big trouble. So I love being Santa Claus. It's Christmas. I guess it's a wonderful time to do it. But I also don't want to continue to grow government if I can't afford to pay for it. And I don't want to give our people more government than they can afford. So I just want to know if WestCare, and I probably am going to make a little more effort to find out to what degree WestCare is involved and what the feedback is from the veterans community with regards to the services that they're providing. But I would like to know to what degree the Guam Veterans Affairs Office is engaged with them, and also their work and their outreach and what their mission is to assist our veterans to provide the very services we're talking about here today.
Right, so I know Director Uggan has been in communication with them. With that said, we will have him reply to that formally. What I also know that happens on a frequent basis is we do hear the frustration, especially at the Veterans Commission meeting, of I'm trying not to throw anyone under the bus, but of agencies or programs responsible, as Mr. Cundiff has said, not doing their job, which is the frustration of the veterans. So WestCare has the programs, whether they're active or not, we're going to have to go to them and have them come out and justify or answer these questions formally. I'm not privy to their numbers or their data, so I don't want to assume or presume what it is that they do. I just know, and I can say beyond a reasonable doubt, and anybody that knows me will say that unless I hear it, see it, experience it, even if you whisper in my ear, I trust what you say, but I will verify. And what I'm hearing and verifying from the veteran community is that they're not getting the assistance. And what's also happening, so for example, housing, is with the pandemic, we've seen an increase of veterans coming from, for example, the Philippines, true veterans from the Philippines coming in because they have to exit and go back, they want to go back. Philippines isn't accepting them, so now they come to Guam homeless. You know, so we're trying to assist them with that process, and it's the numbers are increasing. And if it weren't for our various veteran service organizations like the VFW, we will have more homeless veterans on island than we'd like to have.
Well, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of engagement collectively within your structure at the Veterans Affairs Office with WestCare, and certainly it's something I think we'll look into a little further to get some answers. Because again, I don't want to duplicate, if we don't have to, efforts in government. I am concerned about the continued growth of government, the continued creation of positions, adding positions. Granted, we know there's special areas in the government where it's needed, but again, I love to have a lot of things, but I don't know who's paying the bill. I don't want to make promises to people. That's why I don't like the inconsistency in the funding source of this bill. I'd rather have a direct source, because if you're talking hiring people and keeping them on, we're not talking about, a one-time appropriation and then next year we don't have to worry about it. It sounds like something that has to be incorporated into the actual budget bill for the government of Guam rather than a special separate piece of legislation. So I think that's something that also needs to be looked further as well. But thank you very much, Ms. Lucy, for your input, and certainly thank you to Mr. Cundiff, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to ask these questions and make these comments with regards to this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Brown. Thank you, Ms. Pierce. Madam Speaker, do you have any questions to the folks that have been testifying on the bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with all of them that the the bill, especially in the intent, codifies that the legislature wants to prioritize funding towards the, Veterans Affairs. And from this particular bill, it looks like navigation of existing programs, particularly federally funded programs. And I don't think anybody has any objection to that. I think what we are, what I want to make sure is that we are doing this in the most efficient way possible with the resources that we have. So I do share some of the concerns that have been raised, for particularly, so OFB has said that the funding source identified in this bill may not be viable. That's one we have in writing. I haven't seen an updated fiscal note other than that. And the one from BBMR says, talks about how the EITC was already appropriated in the budget bill. And then it talks about the intended use of the $500,000 from EITC reimbursements, and that is for salaries, overtime, benefits, travel, contractual services, supplies and materials, equipment, miscellaneous, 43,000, capital outlay, 50,000. And but when you really get into what is going to be achieved, we're talking about, I don't know, it sounds to me like pretty much navigational services, like our local veterans office is going to help veterans navigate those existing programs that they should be able, and they are absolutely entitled to right now. And I guess I want to ask Ms. Perez, you say that's what your office is doing right now, right? And I think one of the persons who testified says that's why they go to your office. And so I just want to, and you're supposed to be doing this, I know, for claims, right? That's one of the things. We're also supposed to be outreaching, your office is supposed to be outreaching for the registry. And we've tried all different kinds of ways to increase this potential that you have to outreach and to reach them, to actually reach them. And that's still a challenge. It looks like even with all the work of the Veterans Commissions, all the work of these veterans organizations, it still seems to be a challenge to truly reach all the veterans on Guam. And so I guess I can see your logic that if you get more employees, you're going to have more people to help with that outreach and more people to help with those referrals. But what I'm worried about is, I mean, these are in the end, referrals to huge programs. For example, housing, employment, higher learning opportunities, and healthcare. And so the veterans should be able to avail of these services. And we're hearing today that some of the issues are that it's where these services are available. That's where the gaps are, to me. I mean, of course, we have outreach gaps, but you've already been, set up to take care of that. And now it's these programs that perhaps needs to be improved, right? For example, we don't have the University of Guam here to discuss anything about this higher learning opportunities and how are they going to implement this? Are they able to implement this on their own? Do they really need us to pass a bill for them to do that? Or same thing with the housing. If the program exists at GURA, as somebody said earlier, then we should have GURA in here and we should be oversighting GURA and finding out why are we not able to do this on a timely basis? What is causing the delays for these veterans? And the same thing with employment. If we've prioritized in almost every agency of the government, we've made preferences for the veterans and prioritized them. So why aren't these agencies doing that? Or why aren't they fulfilling that mandate, right? And if the Veterans Affairs Office, and this is my concerns, like going back again, like a circle to the Veterans Affairs Office, the Guam Veterans Affairs Office. If we're going to put this on their shoulders, well, why haven't they come to us and tell us these are the issues? The service providers are not providing the service, or the service providers are full. right? Because we can refer 100 more people, but if these service providers are full, we're not going to get one more veteran served. And I really want to know where that issue lies, because if it's, I want the service to be provided. Of course, we want them to know about it, but I feel like your office can absolutely do that outreach right now, because we're supposed to be doing outreach already, right? Outreach for registry purpose, outreach for the current services that you're providing. And so that's, I'm very concerned about that I don't want to fund additional outreach if it's already the mandate to do outreach, when we can fund the actual service. I want to fund the service that they need. If that's the problem, like they're lacking service providers, or we've maxed out our contract with somebody, or the feds are only providing up to this many clients, and then we as a local government can fund the rest, because this bill doesn't provide the service. It puts a duty on the Guam Veterans Office to do, in addition to what they're doing now, make sure they receive college credit. And I think there's nothing to prevent them from doing that right now. And another concern that I heard somebody mention today is that, so I'm gonna weigh all these things, but I really want to know, I think we really need to get to the root of the issue. Where are the service providers, and why are they not providing this service? Or, is there some other issue that is presenting to us? And also, I've received so many calls to my office, and the number one issue with the veterans that call my office has been the veteran cemetery. And so I know that they have made great strides in the work at the veteran cemetery. I've seen it myself, but that still is a big issue to them, as my understanding that this is an issue that's brought up at the commission meetings. And again, I don't even see the Veterans Commission people here. And so I'm wondering about that gap, so we have gaps, and I agree with the suggestions that bring everybody together. Let's make sure where the real issue lies. Let's resolve that. And I'm all for that. And hopefully that way expand the services to everyone beyond what is being provided today. And of course, the Veterans Affairs Office, they absolutely should continue to do their outreach and make sure that all veterans are aware of the services available to them. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, Madam Speaker, I'm getting bad connection, but are you done?
Yes. Were you not able to hear me?
All right. No, I was hearing you, but my internet connection was unstable. So, but are you done, ma'am? Or
yes,
or did you pose a question for the chat?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, Senator Telotadegui, ma'am, do you have any questions? Just letting everybody know that there's my connection is unstable, so I'm trying to keep up with everybody. Senator Tello, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I do see it freezing every once in a while on your connection. So, well, thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chair, to provide testimony. I'd like to thank those who testified today. I don't think there's any senator that's here today, or even the other senators, who do not support the veterans. There have been many bills prior to this that have helped the veterans, and we stand in support. But however, there are some concerns, and I have such great respect for Mr. Cunliffe for, his insight. I mean, he's been doing this a very long time. You could even ask him where the skeletons are. He would be able to tell you that too. I mean, even going back and to what's happening today. I was just quite surprised too about the stipend too, that's being given regardless of even asking for it or any. I'm going to look into that. And Mr. Cunliffe, I wonder if you can look into that too as well, because that's new to me. Just all you have to do is be a veteran and you get a stipend. So that's kind of confusing.
I'll look into that. That's new to me.
Yes, please. And if you can, just WhatsApp me your findings. I'm very curious on that. Mr. Perez, thank you so much for testifying. I do have a question for you. You're a veteran, correct, Mr. Perez?
Yes, that's correct, ma'am.
Okay, and on this bill, what is some of the things that this bill is offering to you that you can't avail right now?
Well, ma'am, I'm still serving, so a lot of the language or the things being offered in the bill, I still have access to them. But I do know of some veterans who have problems getting some of these services, and specifically the medical access to medical, ma'am.
And to medical, that's another thing I had on my notes because it mentioned suicide. I mean, you know, I can tell you, you go to Guam Behavioral Wellness, it doesn't matter if you're a vet or a homeless individual, you go there, they will not turn you away. If you have suicidal tendencies or need assistance or have a friend, even if you're an individual who knows someone who might be on that verge, going down that path, that you can go to behavioral wellness and let them know of that individual. So plus with the Naval Hospital and what they offer there, there's quite a bit of programs that can be established there. So if you do, Mr. Paris, know of someone, please don't hesitate to call behavioral wellness. You know, I'm sure they'll help you if you know anyone in that circumstances. But anything else, Mr. Paris, other than medical?
No, ma'am, that's the biggest item on the bill for me, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Paris, and Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you for coming here. Mr. Winner, is there anything in the bill that you don't have the ability to have access to?
No, ma'am. I'm currently, I usually look up online what kind of benefits I can apply for, and I use the Guam Veterans Office to apply for the benefits. What I like about the bill is it gives help for the Guam Veterans Office to get all the information. So when the veterans go apply for the benefits, they have information to help them. So like the ability to like looking for housing. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if I see some veterans on the street with signs like homeless veterans willing to work for food. I don't know if they know about the benefits about looking for housing they can apply for. Mm-hmm. And if they do, if the Guam Veterans Office have that information, maybe they can help them looking for housing.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Winner, for that. And if you see anybody or know of anyone, you know, Mr. Cunliffe, if you can't get through with the Veterans Office on Guam, I'm sure Mr. Cunliffe knows of nonprofit organizations that can help those veterans who are on the street, who are living in the homeless section. So please, I hope you guys can connect via WhatsApp, you know, in this chat group, you know, and exchange numbers. If not, then I know the speaker has Mr. Cunliffe's phone number. So please, if you see anyone on the street, if you can please call Mr. Cunliffe. And you're right, Mr. Winner, on one thing, the Veterans Office has not been fully staffed, you know, to provide all the assistance that is needed. That's something that we definitely need to look at in the budget bill when providing sustainable funding for these individuals. And I thank you again, Mr. Winner, for your testimony, and Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. You know, one of the concerns, of course, is the funding source. I just received the fiscal note last night and read through it. And I know the speaker mentioned some of the comments on it, but, you know, this funding says that there's a comment on here. It says the final amount to be reimbursed for EITC has yet to be determined, as well as the timeframe in which the funds will be availed to the government of Guam. Should the Internal Revenue Service and the U.S. Treasury avail EITC reimbursements via trust account, those funds would not be subject to legislative approval. You know, I don't like legislation, you know, definitely. I don't want to have individuals you know, have hope, you know, well, actually scratch that. Everyone should have hope. But when you're putting it in writing or legislation that this funding is going to, you know, cover all these areas and the funding is not there, then I have an issue with that. Then I need to bring it to those people who are there here to testify or not in support, or whether they are in support of the bill, to let them know the reality of this funding source. We need to be real. One of the things that Senator Brown mentioned earlier too was the fact that we have to sustain these positions. We create these jobs, we then have to sustain it. And just to let you know, this EITC funding is funding the hospital as well as DOC and tax refunds to the people. This is their money. That's what EITC has been funded for in the budget bill. So I do have a concern, but Lucia, I appreciate your comments, and I know the struggles you have at the Veterans Office, because I hear it every year about not enough employees there. But let's, if we are going to fund some employees, let's do it where we can sustain them. And I think my next question to you was, during the budget bill, how many employees did you request for in your budget bill?
Senator Joe, I can speak.
Yes, okay.
Yes, please, Ms. Harris.
So during the budget bill, I was one person who was very vocal about the number of positions that we need. And so they gave us, I think, 2 more positions.
Okay.
Just for the VSRs. For
Okay.
20,000 veterans, that is not enough. And I can say that. Many people think, or maybe because they don't fully understand the process when a veteran comes in and needs to apply for something, that it's not just a 30-minute appointment. Mr. Cundy knows this, right? It's sometimes, if you're a new individual, it's a minimum of 2 hours, okay? So our team has that word. Then you brought up the cemetery. Cemetery does not fall on deaf ears. We requested for a budget, and granted, we got additional money. Thank you very much. It was, I believe, 125,000 more, or 200,000, Senator Joseph Agustin, more than what was originally stated. And for that, we are truly appreciative. Whether that's going to cover what needs to be done at the cemetery and with the staff remains to be seen. But please know that whatever funding that is given to us and that we currently have, we are utilizing and going to utilize down to every single penny for what it's supposed to be. Like at the cemetery, fixing the chapel. That is one of our forefront items right now. So in terms of other staff, yes, we only have 4 accredited VSRs. And even that, our VSRs have voiced the concern, and I spoke with, and the director spoke with Speaker Terlaje. One of the objectives that we're going to be going through this year is getting those individuals assessed. Mm-hmm. And although I came from private sector, I understand, personnel equity and making sure that we utilize everybody. But this is one agency that I've seen that for the important job that it does, it barely with the personnel meets it. Mm-hmm. It meets it. So if we're asking for additional, we've asked, and I'm going to continue to ask. We're starting FY23 budget call. Mm-hmm. It's going to be in there. It's going to be justified beyond any doubt. But it is what it is.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Perez, for that. But, you said you had 2 more that the legislature was able to fund for Correct. 2 additional staff. Okay, was that what you requested for in your budget bill, to ask for 2 more bodies? Or did you ask for 4?
What we requested and what we got were 2 different, but we got 2 that we didn't have. So for us, can you answer the question? Yeah.
Did you ask for 4 bodies, or did you ask for 2?
I actually asked for 4 additional VSRs and I believe 3 additional cemetery to start out with, and we got 2.
Okay, out of 7, you got 2. Okay, but you did get the funding for the cemetery, additional funding. Okay, so
yes.
What's 5 more to go. And I'm pretty sure that there is a the same kind of standard in other jurisdictions or counties that have the Veterans Office in those counties to determine, how many VSRs are per capita, in those locations. I'm looking forward to hearing, I will ask that during the budget hearing with regards to their scenarios in their jurisdictions and how many they have to oversee their office as well and to do the job. So, okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity. Mr. Cunliffe, always a pleasure. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be here as well, and wishing you and your family a Merry Christmas. And thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Tello. I just want to clear, because I'll be last to speak before Senator Amanda does her closing, but I just want to clear the air just a little bit for everyone and for the people listening and watching. When it was mentioned earlier that the OFB statement was the funding source identified for this bill may not be viable, I think we need to complete the sentence. Should Guam receive the funding and the other bills affecting this funding source are passed, this bill will go before the other bills. So if this bill passes, then it becomes viable. I just want to complete that. The other statement that was made earlier, Bureau budget statement on the very bottom, should the Internal Revenue Service U.S. Treasurer avail EITC reimbursement via a trust? Exactly what happened for 2022, they identified it as an advancement. That's why it's not available for appropriation. If it comes as a reimbursement, it's available for appropriation. So that being said, moving along on this, I'm in support of this bill. It's to build the Veterans Office as an outlet. And I understand where Command Sergeant Major Dwayne Paris brought up, and some folks I've met out there, the veterans, there's no outlet. There's reservists out there that don't have a means. If you're active duty, like Cornell Cunliffe said, yeah, there's a process. You're trained, you're told exactly where to go, now to get it. But generally speaking, is it available? No. West Care exists, yeah. But does everybody know about West Care? No. So with that, it's to put into one office and get it and get the outlet out there and the means, establish the web, and let the Veterans Office take care of it from here. And with that, at least you know where I'm coming from on this one. And I asked Senator Shelton to go ahead and close on the bill, her final statement. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. And to your point on the funding source, I also want to mention, again, what was mentioned earlier at the beginning of this hearing for those who were not present, that after discussions with you and the Committee on Appropriations, we've also felt that language should be included in this bill that includes an additional funding source. So to read and or from the unappropriated 2021 general fund revenue. So Mr. Chair, we'll work together to ensure that is included during the committee work. So thank you very much for that. And I want to thank Mr. Cunliffe here and Mr. Winner and Mr. Perez and Ms. Perez from the GVAO for all of your contributions to the discussion today. Thank you very much for bringing these different perspectives for us to have as we take action on this bill. And I think what we've all learned today is that there are many, many different services available to our veterans through nonprofit organizations, through different government agencies. But we have the GVAO that has been established by our local statute to provide for our veterans all of these different services. And this bill today before us will further empower the GVAO to assist and uplift our veterans, whether that be through navigating services or finding or providing direct services. And so some of these nonprofit organizations that we have, like a West Care providing the supportive services for veterans families program and the emergency food and shelter program. And then we have the HUD-VASH program that was all discussed earlier. These are all different, very targeted programs for different groups of veterans. And I think that we know now that veterans don't always know that these are available at all of these different outlets. But we have the GVAO here who can help our veterans find these programs, find the right programs for them that they are rightfully entitled to. And so I think we also heard lots of other problems happening with the GVAO, the resources that are still needed for other responsibilities through that office, such as the cemetery. And we don't want to minimize those problems, but also not to allow those issues that exist within the GVAO right now to prevent us from progress in other ways for our veterans. So those are certainly issues that we will continue to work on, to find resources for, to ensure that we are taking care of our veteran cemetery. But remembering that we have all of these veterans who are here before us looking for services. And a key to access, I think access was a big topic today. A key to access is having the information available and knowing about these programs. So perhaps there's no issue preventing a veteran from getting these benefits, but they don't even know about it to begin with. So a key to the access is having the information and the education that GVAO can provide through its services, navigating all of these programs. And so just providing these additional resources that we have today in this bill to the GVO to carry out these programs, to streamline these processes, to give this information to our veterans who we know, like Mr. Winner, are maybe some of them are Googling where to find help, where can veterans go, an organization on Guam. And this is the office that exists. This is the office that was established by our local statute to provide for our island veterans. And so we want to be able to empower this office and to give them the resources that they need while expanding some of the duties that we know will help to fill the gaps that exist now in our system. And I know that we talked about veterans having services in lots of other places throughout the government of Guam. But I want us to remember today that veterans are a very, very special group of people to us here on island and throughout the nation. They have given freely of their time and of their service to our community. And these are benefits that we have made clear that they rightfully deserve. And we want to be able to support that in every way possible. And so this bill, it does identify issues that exist within the processes for veteran services, but it also helps us to identify solutions. So I know that there are lots of other ideas that can be added to this bill, perhaps, or in another bill down the line, but I don't want us to think of every single issue out there that veterans are faced with and have that prevent us from taking action today when we have the opportunity to do so. And many veterans who are suffering in silence, they're not out actively looking for services. They're not knocking down the door of the West Care or of GORA or of the GVAO even. So we're able today here to provide these resources so that GVAO can meet the veterans where they are in their suffering, in their pain, and help them to find the help that they need, to provide the services that they need. So I want to thank you again, Mr. Chair, for your time today, for hearing this bill, and of course, all of the veterans and all of the advocates who have been here to discuss this bill and to help us strengthen it. And I really look forward to amending the bill in the way that's necessary so that we can do this for our veterans and continue to work together to bring them the services that they need. So Duas Masi, Mr. Chair, and Merry Christmas.
All right, thank you, Senator Shelton.
Yes, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Please stay safe.
All right, thank you. The committee will continue to receive testimony. And please submit your testimony to the mailroom of the Guam Legislature or through email at senatorjoessanalvci@gmail.com. And again, I want to thank everyone for attending this virtual public hearing and for providing feedback and suggestions. The public hearing is now adjourned. It is now 10:50, and my colleagues and to Commander Sergeant Major Paris and Mr. Winter, thank you for participating. And Ms. Paris, please, we need to stay in contact what's going on down there at the Veterans Office. Zuzmazi, Merry Christmas, and all please be safe. Thank you.